Space nerds, welcome. If you just got here, we are live going over a inventory and crafting special Q&A that we had Torsten, Rick, and Declan all on to talk about industrial gameplay, crafting, inventory. Where is it headed? Probably a lot of how is it going to change from what we've gotten so far. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I'll probably be talking throughout this. Thanks for joining. If you're not here live, join us. It's a lot more fun. We do a lot of conversation, and thanks everybody for coming into this Thursday special. Let's do it.
Will we be able to increase quality of a material? Now, this is a big thing because in 4.7, not just crafting come online, but a major
It's literally the biggest question. Like, I'm glad he
change
opened
to
with the big one.
all materials, where now it's not just, hey, I'm grabbing iron and hey, I'm grabbing aluminum. I almost said aluminium because I've been here 4 years. Now you have to search
Weirdo.
for varying qualities and get the best qualities and stuff. Will we be able to increase the quality of such material?
Yeah, start with a hot question. Current plan is no. You won't be able to increase the quality of the material, and there's a few aspects that go into that. Firstly, we would like rare materials and valuable materials to remain rare and valuable. Concern being that if I can take a large chunk of low quality, condense it into high quality, given enough time, players will have high quality everything. And that greatly devalues the future play trading opportunities, where we really want to see the scenario of a player finds a super high rare, high value ore deposit, and perhaps on their player base they set up a shop, and then you have people coming to your shop and like buying from you, and you get to interact with them and so on. The second part is there is a need for the lower and mid quality to have greater value. At the moment, because it's bigger number is better, everyone's searching for the high quality. So to resolve this, our plan is with the refining updates that you will have two ingredients for when you're refining. One of them will be a primary, two or more, it could be two or more to be fair, two or more could be secondary. And the quality of the secondary determines how much of it you need, whereas the primary is the quality of the primary is used for the refined material. So if it's iron, we always go for the steel example. So if you're making steel, primary is iron, 750 quality iron makes 750 steel. Carbon, the quality is not too important. So you can get a massive amount of carbon, however much you need of terrible quality, shove it in and get your steel.
So the value in the lower quality stuff will be in using it to get a greater quantity.
Not quantity, it's just for the secondary inputs, you need less of it if it's high quality, but you can still use any quality. Okay. So you can farm up loads and just shove it in as second.
Definitely seems like a kind of like get your hands on the system to fully get a grasp of it. There are certain things that I want to go certain ways, and I think that the way that the quality works right now and the way that you find it is a little bit annoying. but I also realize that there are quite a few systems in the game right now that well, not right now, that could possibly make it a lot different. So I'm willing to see the story of how they want this to work through. Ultimately, I am glad that we're getting this info. I could care a little bit about whether or not they're going to allow us to raise quality or not, but coming out and talking about it and explaining it like this is really good, because now we can tell everyone else, and there's an official understanding going forward. I'm sure we'll get more info about it here. Dang it.
So there's a purpose for the lower quality, and it's, to be very honest, it's something that we discussed.
And just to be clear, this is actually something they talked about back when they were first introducing crafting. I believe this is Declan talking here. It might be Torsten about the refining process that they're going to be bringing in.
Time the refining process will take. An optional catalyst can speed up the process further.
See, this sounds much better
Let
here.
me give you a simple example. If you want high quality steel, you need to put in the best iron you have in the primary slot. You can put any quality coal in the secondary slot without affecting the quality of the steel. But the quality of the coal will influence how much of it you need to produce steel. As an example, if you put in low quality coal, you might require 4 SCU of coal versus high quality coal that only requires 2 SCU. This is one of the important use cases for low quality materials that Jacob mentioned. You can use refining stations in the world as they will be converted to this new process. You can build your own refineries for yourself, you can get your org to help you out, or you can simply trade for the materials that you need on the open market.
So there are some holes that can be filled in here, but that doesn't necessarily solve the problem of what people are saying, which is like, what am I going to do with all these other lower quality materials? Do I really have to hold on to like a 400 level quality iron just because I found it?
Actually discussed a lot.
Just need more reasons to have
this road. And as Dec already described, one of the main reasons why we want to stick with this approach of you not being able to upgrade the materials is that we still want you to search for higher grades, that we don't want you to hoard lower grades, because at some point you will be able to upgrade. And for that reasons, we came up with some solutions of making the lower quality actually worthwhile to holding onto them, especially then once we have the refining process in.
Yeah, and we want, when you find those really high level ones, we want that to be exciting. We want that to feel like a moment. And if you could just get higher easy, you would dilute that experience.
Plus, it's good. It seems to me like you're finding a nice compromise here then between, for the people who gather casually, there's a path, there's a useful for the stuff, for the lesser quality stuff they get. But for the people who dedicate themselves, like, I am going to be a miner, that is my job. Because you're going to keep those higher resources more valuable, that effort is going to be more rewarding to those people because they're going to be able.
I think the big thing most people are concerned with is they're cool with there being some risk and reward to finding high quality materials, but the high quality materials you find, there's not really rhyme or reason. Which I think Planet Tech is going to make a big difference there, allowing us to actually know where to go to look for higher quality stuff. But as it is right now, you could spend 2 hours searching and not find anything, it's not great. If you wanted to be a miner who could go and find high quality materials like that, you should be able to just buy the location of high quality materials and go get them. That location should be bought by another player who did want to go out there and scan for 2 hours and they found the goods and now they put it on the market, but we don't have all that kind of stuff to even make that a reality.
Sell that stuff to.
Exactly, that is the point, because with that we open up the opportunities for players to sell it, right? If every player is able to upgrade their materials, then we swamp the market with a high quality.
Of course, that relies on player trading, and we've got to get there at some point. There's a question. We'll wait until we get to the question. I don't remember what number it was. Yeah. It's number 2. Player trading.
How convenient.
I lied when I said there's no rhyme or reason to this. I just forgot. Player trading is a much needed feature now that we have crafting. Any news on that?
Yes and no. It's something that's really important to me in particular. Like I got on stage at CitCon a couple of years ago and talked about how important I think the player-driven economy can be, especially now that we're finally getting crafting out. Like, if you can't do player trading, it's not what I want it to be. So, going to get there as fast as possible. We've got to balance it against some other things like social features and so forth. But what we want to do is give players a space in the world, taking advantage of the trade centers that we already have in locations where you can go there and you can take anything in your local inventory and put it on the local net and pick your price and sell it for what you want, or what anybody else there that's done the same, you can buy their stuff and get what you need.
Sounds like magic.
We have those actual in-world commercial centers, and then eventually we'll have player bases, base building, where you can do that locally and build your own town. So
I'm glad you mentioned social right there. That is the precursor to this. The work
let's hear about that.
Benoit and his team are doing on developing social tools, which I don't think anybody that's ever played Star Citizen for more than 5 minutes will argue is not incredibly important and incredibly needed. The work that they're doing on social lays the groundwork. It's a necessary.
You would be so surprised, Jared, so surprised at how many people will tell you not to complain about
foundation for then building player trading on top of that. You have to be able to effectively communicate to people and before you can start player trading. So the social tools are what their focus on is on right now. And the new inventory has had a lot of the same problems that were seen with the old inventory, such as slow load times and poor quality images. Are there plans to resolve this?
Yes. So.
All right, next question.
Don't laugh. So for the images, there's a handful of initiatives underway. There's no anti-aliasing on the images, so that's one of the things we're going to look into add in. There is improvements to the framing. You'll see some things that see zoomed out, zoomed in compared to the box. There is lighting and shadows, and then for the responsiveness and the snappiness, it's work in progress. It is our desire to have it instant. So.
I saw something. I'm in a number of chats where for visibility and something, and I saw there was a big conversation. They found a big cause, not the only cause, and there's never only one source for something, but they made a nice big leap in some discovery earlier this week, and I wish I could remember what the heck it was now before I opened my mouth. I just assumed I would remember by the time I got to the point, and I don't. But yeah, they are currently.
They discovered that the inventory is running kind of slow.
Making progress.
Yeah, there's a lot of work into going to making the inventory the best we can.
Yeah. It's hard because it's like, I did the thing. Pete just saw me put my hand in my mouth. He's like, I got it before you put your light on. It's hard. It never quite seemed like it goes fast enough. That thing never goes as fast as we want it to. But
that's what she said.
Mining is currently quite tedious due to only wanting to search for high quality materials. Are there plans? We ended up going into this answer.
Hey, at least we're not only searching for Quantanium anymore, right? Little steps. 3 steps forward, 2 back.
Yeah,
we're getting there.
And I think the other part of the answer to that is like the question is like, all I'm finding is boring stuff. Where's the excitement? It's like we will balance that over time. If we're not supplying enough for the players to like feel satisfaction in that process, if we're not supplying enough for to have a good crafting environment, we will adjust the balance of what we think gets to a good place for both the economy and to make sure that all the other game systems come together for a fun environment.
For that, we are even like monitoring all the rates that we see drop. So we are adjusting. So for every patch cycle, the numbers might change a bit, so that we're getting to a range where the material that the players will find is actually like meaningful and has a purpose for them. Yep. But I wouldn't call mining tedious.
That's because you're the industrial guy. Wait, I'm sorry. I missed that answer. I was reading chat.
Where's the excitement? It's like
the first answer.
And the other part of the answer to that is like the question is like, all I'm finding is boring stuff. Where's the excitement? It's like we will balance that over time. If we're not supplying enough for the players to like feel satisfaction in that process, if we're not supplying enough for to have a good crafting environment, we will adjust the balance of what we think gets to a good place for both the economy and to make sure that all the other game systems come together for a fun environment.
For that, we are even like monitoring all the rates that we see drop. So we are adjusting. So for every patch cycle, the numbers might change a bit, so that we're getting to a range where the material that the players will find is actually like meaningful and has a purpose for them.
I really would have loved to hear them say that they were going through a dedicated resource generation update. Maybe mention Planetech V5, that's going to make a little bit of a difference in finding the stuff. Interesting that doesn't come up.
Yeah, I wouldn't call mining tedious.
Well, it depends. Not every game loop is going to be for every person. And we don't know the person who said this. For some people, it will be tedious.
Yeah.
But
it should also be exciting for the people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, if you don't want to make something that if you make something that's for everybody, it's a little too broad. Those too broad, it's a little too uninteresting and whatnot. You want to make something that's engaging, and some people are going to take to it, and some people are not. One of the things you said about we were going to continue to balance is, I think anybody that's followed the project long enough can attest that we continuously evolve. We put a thing out, and then we change it, and then we change it, and we get feedback, and we change it again, and we get feedback and change it. That's part of developing a game with an open environment like we do. Mining alone, since we're talking about mining, let's just use that, has evolved so much from that initial release. So crafting will do the same. Crafting will do the same, and mining will continue to do the same, and stuff like this. So I think that's been borne out over the years. So. Is the purchase of materials of various qualities other than 0 from in-game locations like mining outposts being considered?
Yes. So
I did not sure I understood the question.
So at the moment, when a
You wrote
shop
the
sells
answer.
a resource, I've wrote the answer and just took people's names on it. So,
Declan,
at the moment, shops
the
sell
team leader in the
resources at 0
college
just 'cause
project.
that's
Oh, right.
default. It's just a tech limitation.
That was never intended. It was,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just where we landed for the release.
They'll end up selling materials of quality. They won't sell the super high quality stuff. And equally, if you sell good quality to a shop, it'll pay more. But the best deal is probably going to be on the player trade market because that's where people have the most money.
Yeah. We'll have a market with multiple quality values. You'll be able to go there and pay more for higher quality and less for lower quality. And the same vice versa. If you want to sell your own stuff, you'll get more for higher quality and less for lower quality. That's absolutely the design, and we'll get there. We just couldn't get there last release.
But what Dex said is that, and I want to highlight that, is that we really want to have player trading standing out in comparison to trading with NPCs. So we want to make sure that, sure, you will be finding like different qualities from NPC traders, but your source should be, or we want to encourage you to actually trade with players there.
And eventually it'll all be tied together. Like whenever a player's trading to another player, we'll be tracking that and adding it to the overall simulation. We've talked about having Star Sim, the simulation that knows everything that the players are doing, plus all the things that we're expecting the NPCs to doing, so that when players buying stuff for one price, that is reflected in the NPC prices as well.
Yeah.
So I lost it. I lost it from the chat. There was a question from the chat. We just put out crafting. We just put out the first version of crafting. How are you guys feeling about it right now?
Deck did a really good job there. he pulled all the things together and motivated the teams working on it. So definitely kudos to Deck.
Yeah, we asked Deck to do a lot at the last minute, but like the whole team came together. Like
For sure.
Yeah, like. It's the first step. Like there's a lot more that we want to do with crafting, but just getting that first tier of crafting out felt really good. It's that first step, that we needed to take to get it into players' hands to start iterating on it, and we've got a long ways to go. But there's a lot of cool features coming, and
It was nice seeing like the avalanche of feedback. You saw some people, they wanted X, Y, Z to be improved. You saw
Avalanche.
people crafting guns that were
Explosion,
managed quality, and then there was a helmet that was bugged that I had to fix, which I was a bit annoyed when out.
I think that
it was very nice to see go out.
it even helped internally because the people working on it were all motivated to get this feature in a really good quality because they themselves are either a fan of crafting or are really like fan of tying things together in our game. So that definitely helped a lot.
yeah.
Now, of course, there are people who are going to have dissenting opinions. They're obviously always going to be someone who doesn't like how mining works or how crafting works or how whatever. What would you say to people who just wash their hands of the entire system right now? Just, I don't like any of this. I wish you'd made Star Wars Galaxies. Just make Star Wars Galaxies, please.
I think it's
Ahazi. Ahazi. Shout out to Ahazi.
I think it's pretty early to wipe your hands of it. Like we've got a long ways to go, both in crafting itself and the other features that are going to support crafting. It's too early to tell, I would say. This is absolutely just our first step out the door. And while it's really cool to see what players can already do with it, we're far from done.
We did release a crafting guide alongside, and the crafting guide had a wonderful section at the bottom, not just dedicated to everything that was in this one, but a look to a whole lot of things that are already in development for the future. I mean, it's not even everything. There were a couple of things. Anything that was like, well, we might whatever. We struck them out. We stuck with a pretty short list of the things that we were pretty confident on, and it's an impressive list of stuff coming. If you haven't seen the crafting guide and checked out the section at the bottom of where crafting is going, I would suggest you check it out. There's some good stuff in there.
Good job writing that deck. At the 11th hour, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
No, we
used
worked
that
on it.
review.
So there's crafting, then there's inventory. Now, one of the
Twitch. Where were we?
months between
Okay, we're getting close.
doesn't
We're like
like
right here somewhere.
how mining works or how crafting works or how whatever. What would you say to people who just wash their hands of the entire system right now? Just, I don't like any of this. I wish you'd made Star Wars Galaxies. Just make Star Wars Galaxies.
Okay, we're gonna just start from here.
I think it's
Ahazi. Ahazi. Shout out to Ahazi.
I think it's pretty early to wipe your hands of it. Like we've got a long ways to go, both in crafting itself and the other features that are going to support crafting. Yeah, it's too early to tell, I would say. This is absolutely just our first step out the door. And while it's really cool to see what players can already do with it, we're far from done.
We did release a crafting guide alongside, and the crafting guide had a wonderful section at the bottom, not just dedicated to everything that was in this one, but a look to a whole lot of things that are already in development for the future. I mean, it's not even everything.
Jared, you expect us to read? Bro.
There were a couple of things. Anything that was like, well, we might or whatever. We struck them out. We stuck with a pretty short list of the things that we were pretty confident on, and it's an impressive list of stuff coming. If you haven't seen the crafting guide and checked out the section at the bottom of where crafting is going, I would suggest you check it out. There's some good stuff in there.
Good job writing that deck. At the 11th hour, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
No, we
used
worked
that
on
review.
it. So there's crafting, then there's inventory. Now,
Oh boy.
Obviously we put this new inventory front end on, but one of the big issues that the crafting update made was all the material updates made and all the qualities of all the materials of different quality have basically put a whole lot of stuff in players' inventories now. How are we addressing this?
There's a couple of things in the work for the quality itself, which will help with the bloats. And then, as you mentioned, the crafting guide, there's some inventory adjustments and management tools. The first one is kind of like a folder structure. So if you have 20 variants of copper, they'll be inside a folder. You'll click the folder and then you'll see your 20. So as you're scrolling through the freight elevator, your inventory, it'll look much cleaner until you want to dive in and see all the details. The second one is merging and splitting. So merging, people have like half empty boxes they're hauling all over the place. They would, if they're low quality or you're not too bothered to keep them separate, you could just stick them all together. The quality would average out based on the SU weights.
That's a big one because right now the quality does average out when you're crafting, but it does it when you're crafting. So, what is going on? Oh, look, another freaking spam call. Leave me alone. So you have to basically say that you're doing the crafting and then throw different quality materials into the blueprint until you've filled up the amount you need to craft that certain thing. And that lowers the statistics you're getting from the gun. But because that's the only quality you have, you kind of have to do it at that point. It would be great to be able to do that right there in your ship and average them out in the box, which is nice to know that that's coming. I know I said during the beginning I don't want when questions, but when? As soon as we get to this point, I immediately do want to know when. Whoops.
And then splitting is kind of the obvious opposite, where you take part of a box and turn it into two boxes, and that's crucial for player trading, right? You don't want to put all your high quality up for sale. You want to take half of it and put it up for sale, or maybe you want to share it but sell it.
So this is more about like if you have a 60 SCU crate, you convert it into 2 8 SCU crates, or like into several 1 SCU crates. So you basically split up the volume into smaller chunks.
That'll be nice when you have a big ship or a small ship.
In comparison to the merging, this will leave the quality unaffected, right? So just create new containers holding the same material.
And I'm going to ask the question that Chad is going to be asking right now, and you don't have to look at it. Why wasn't something like that in the first release then? If you know you're going to flood the inventory system with all these new materials with all these varying qualities, why wasn't merge and split and stuff like that in the first release?
Because it wasn't ready yet.
But we have to release at some point, don't we?
Yeah. How long do we want to wait on release for all the features that we have planned? If we waited on
what a
every
surprising
little feature
answer
that we want to have out be part of the system, like it would take us so much longer to get anything out into players' hands, and it would just slow down the iteration overall.
Yeah, big.
And thus, that is why we are back to the the pre 4.0 style of development. And if you do not like that, I don't think they're going to change it. Tech preview is literally just meant to make it work. They're still going to just keep adding features as they become available, and they will iterate on those as they can. But I think the biggest disconnect that there is probably between the team making Star Citizen right now and the people who are waiting for it, and this might result in a couple of flip tables, so bear with me. They're still very far away from finishing Star Citizen. Arguably, it feels like where they should have been in 2018, in my humble opinion. Not necessarily tech-wise, but in 2018, Squadron 42 should have been wrapping up, and they should have been ramping up into Star Citizen development hardcore. But instead, it seems like that all that time was like engine, and Squadron 42. And we're just now getting to the point where they're ramping up Star Citizen development. And I think that means that we are just getting into the 3 or 4 years. Well, somehow, according to Chris, they want it to be a 1 to 2 year cycle, 2 to 3 year cycle. I think we have just entered this 3 to 4 year cycle where 1.0 is the development focus and Star Citizen actually starts getting the features that make sense to us. We're still just seeing the groundwork for these features, which is crazy for me to say. I know. I'm just the messenger here. I'm just telling you what I think I'm seeing. But I genuinely don't think they're as far along on these things as people want to believe. And for that reason, they're adding them and iterating on them slowly so that they don't break anything. To be honest, I'm happy for them that they don't have to rush on this. Tell the advertising team about that. Man, the advertising team is focused on making money. That's what they do. That's why we should be, as a community, talking about this stuff regularly. And like instead of just gnashing of the teeth, I think it is a good time to remind people it's very hype right now. It's a really, really fun time to be in Star Citizen, but I think it's only fun for if you like the development still. It's not like last year anymore. Last year was very content first focus. It was very something might be working, something might not, and if it's not, just go do something else. But now it's like something is kind of working, and they might change it next month, but they could change it in 2 months, and maybe not. I don't know. It's just a lot. It's complicated.
6 months waiting for the next patch.
Yep. It's hard. It's hard because if we waited for everything, we'd never release anything. That's just, there's a reason why some games go, 6 months between major releases or even longer and stuff. They go completely quiet. We are putting new stuff out almost every 2 weeks at this point now, and it's like this. It's because we get feedback on the stuff we have. It's like we need that feedback on the stuff we have. We need that testing on the stuff that we have, because we might learn something about the stuff we have that directly affects the stuff that we're waiting for. And better to know that while we're still working on this than finish this and go, oh, I wish I had known this earlier. If only I had put what we had out earlier, that information could have informed this. There's a whole lot of reasons why we operate a live environment in the middle of our game development. It's beneficial in a lot of ways, and it's annoying. and you look at me like it is. It is annoying to have to put out a feature and it needs merging and splitting. It's just not ready.
I'll never be happy with any feature we put out. It'll never be complete. It'll be as good as I can get in the time and resources that I have. That's me being a perfectionist. That's nothing against the game.
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be a meme on Reddit.
Yeah, well.
It'll be a nice square picture of Rick Porter that says, "I'll never be happy with anything I release."
That's sure. It's truth. I'll take it. That's me being a perfectionist. That's not an indictment of anything else.
Interaction menu,
So what's
please.
the plan? I skipped way ahead. So what's the plan for crafting large items that obviously won't fit in the current fabricator?
So with the current fabricator, we had a specific format that we were going for. That's our first version. In the future, we're going to have the ability to craft directly into local storage with that initial fabricator, so that you'll have options to craft larger items in the near future, and then longer term with base.
That's interesting. Would you guys have thought back in the day that they were going to allow you to craft things that went straight into your inventory? I wouldn't really have expected that with the physicalization of all the stuff. But then again, they are doing that on the other side of things, where you can craft from materials that are just around the city you're in.
We'll have hangar crafting, and we'll have intermediate steps in ship crafting as well as locations. So there's lots planned to like expand your options of size in crafting.
Yeah. Crafting into the local inventory is one of those things that we're listed on that.
Yeah, and crafting local inventory is more of a stopgap until we can bring those other features into the game. So I don't think that'll be a permanent solution, but it'll be a way for us to start iterating on our larger crafting before we have those other features available.
Hey, Torsten, will mining modules and gadgets ever be craftable?
Yes, like most of or a lot of items that we will have, or we already have in our game, all of them will be craftable at some point, and we will make sure that most of the items, or actually every item that is craftable, actually is affected by the quality of the materials that you use for it, so that there is a meaningful reason for you actually to craft those items. And for 4.8, we are already like expanding our catalog of craftable items. So we are expanding it to ship components, and those will also be affected by the stat improvements that you get from the quality. So you will be able to craft, correct me if I'm wrong, Dek, but power plants, coolers, life support generator?
No, life support generator.
We didn't. Yeah. No. So what did we, weapons?
Weapons,
Weapons we did agree on. Shield generators.
Quantum drive.
Shield generators are there.
Yeah.
Quantum drive.
What am I missing?
Quantum drive.
Am I missing something?
There's tractor beam.
The modules, the subcomponents for the Salvage heads, mining heads, refueling.
The refueling one's an interesting one. We probably won't
Hold on a second. I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of this. This isn't 4.8 stuff, is it?
Power plant will also be affected by chip components and our catalog of craftable items. So we are already like expanding our catalog. And for 4.8, we are already like expanding our catalog of craftable items. So we are expanding it to ship components, and those will also be affected by the stat improvements that you get from the quality. So you will be able to craft.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dek, but power plants, coolers.
But
he doesn't say quantum drives. That's the most important thing.
We didn't. So what did we? Weapons.
Weapons.
Weapons we did agree on. Shield generators.
Shield generators are there.
Shield generators is good. Weapons is also pretty cool.
Am I missing something?
There's tractor beam.
Also, I was really excited for like industrial things to get crafting potential. Tractor beams is going to be sick.
The subcomponents for the Salvage heads.
So this is great.
Heads,
it's a great expansion to crafting in one patch.
The refueling one's an interesting one. We probably won't get stats for that, but we will have them because there are some refueling changes. There will be some craftable refueling elements.
Yeah. So we are actively working on expanding our catalog.
I am going to roll you back about the statement. All of the items will be craftable. I want to say most of the items.
Yeah, most of the. Did I say all?
You said all. You said all. But I know it's somewhere there's going to be some limited edition Vandal Cupid doll or something that we give out as a Alien Week thing or whatever, and somebody's like, no, that was the only time you get that or whatever.
So it'll be very, very clear. So it's most of the items, not all of the items. That was
things that affect gameplay. I think we can. I think we can probably commit to the things that affect gameplay.
That's absolutely the intent.
Yeah.
Like anything that affects gameplay that you would want to progress through the game. We want that to be craftable.
If you let me convert a Pico doll into a melee weapon I can bludgeon people with, then now you got to make.
I'm sure you could convince somebody.
Is there going to be a way to track what blueprints we have other than looking at the fabricator screen?
Yes.
It's going to be an app in the MobiGlass. Where is it? UI's busy with Squadron.
An app to the MobiGlass so that you'll be able to see and manage all of your blueprints that you've collected, not only ones you've collected, but the ones that you could collect and the ones you can upgrade. And like it'll be a full featured app that'll probably come out after we get the upgrading in place. So it's more of a future effort, but it's definitely something we have planned.
Say Squadron.
Like a Pokédex.
Say Squadron.
Just for blueprints.
Yes.
Yeah, it's again one of those things called out in the crafting guide that went live with a whole host of things that we're working towards. So I want to point that out because there are a number of the questions that we received in the thread were all questions. A number of the questions that we had were questions that had answers already published on the day that the crafting went live. So I want to encourage people to check out that crafting guide available on robertspaceinitiative.com.
Jared, when you give us words, you might as well assume it's not really there. That's reading.
You click a thing at the top and then you click another thing.
No,
it's in there somewhere.
We don't click it. We don't know how to click it. This doesn't happen. It's got to be a video.
So we got crafting weapons. A lot of the stuff that we're crafting this first thing is FPS related. Will we be able to craft weapon attachments that have different stats from their lootable counterparts?
Yes. So exactly like the like picking up on the answer from the mining gadgets, it's like most of the items or a lot of the items that we have will be craftable. That includes also the attachments for weapons. So that means though that the attachments that we find right now in the dungeons, they were already a good test bed for us because we used them back in the day to test. Actually, that was the first predecessor of our crafting efforts there, where we could try out, okay, what happens when we improve the stats on certain components and how does that affect the gameplay. And now that we have proven that, we can actually dial back a bit there. So it's still debatable of how much we want to dial back, if we even want to dial back, but crafting will definitely then also be a meaningful way of having components for your weapons that then affect the functionality of those.
All of crafting starts with a blueprint. You know, these are the things that determine what you can craft and whatnot. How many blueprints, not exact number, how many blueprints would you say that we added in 4.7?
It's like 700
There's
something.
probably websites that have data mined it, so I'm going to get this wrong. But I think there was...
Promised me at least 300, but I know you exceeded that by a lot.
There was about
it's
300
more than
and
that.
something in missions, and then there was roughly about 1,000 that didn't manage to make it into missions, which were like tint variants.
And I know there are some still coming online next.
Dude, they need to talk about, I'm really hoping they talk about paint skins here and how they're going to handle paint and crafting and switching those things between items, because they need to get a roll on that. We keep looking at all the different things they're supposedly doing to the website and like the Squadron stuff to get ready for that release, but they need to clarify how the cosmetics are going to work too, I think.
Next week we release 4.7.2 with a bunch of new missions for Nyx, and some of those missions reward new unique blueprints that aren't in the system right now. So some of those blueprints that are in the 4.7 branch don't even come online until next week when 4.7.2 comes online.
Yeah, we'll be adding blueprints pretty much constantly.
Well, it's a neat reward because now you can conceivably add. Let's talk about how people get blueprints. How do you get blueprints right now?
At the moment, it's just missions. The plan is reputation. So when you reach a reputation milestone, you can get a blueprint.
Killing Wicklow.
Datapads is a big one, so it will be a datapad that has a blueprint on it, and then you can download it, and that's a one-time download. Or you could
sell it
to
already
someone
got
else, gift it if you want to.
So just to add on that, it's a physical data bank
Yes.
that you can find.
Yeah,
So it's something that we can place in inventories, that we can place in armor pieces.
That is very cool, because when it comes to looting stuff, going around in a video game and looting, generally I'm looking for boxes for cool things, right? And I'll look for a data pad, but usually when I pick up a data pad, even in something I'm playing right now that I can't really talk about yet, I'm looking around and I'll find a data pad while I'm looting, and that data pad will generally always have lore on it, right? Maybe it'll have some kind of a code or something that matters in the place that you're in, but more often than not, it's just like a piece of lore, some world building, something to add to the experience, but not be too much to like throw off the balance of what you're doing or getting in that. But now you kind of have that possibility of when you're raiding a pirate base, you're going into like a military bunker or like some old private company's lab. You have the chance of picking something up and finding a blueprint for something really weird. And that is going to add so much excitement to looting, I think, beyond what I normally have.
From NPCs, so something that you can physically pick up.
Treasure hunters, a whole new treasure hunter profession of people who go out there and do contested zones and everything and collect blueprints to sell to other people.
Yeah, but as Dick already stated, important note there is they are one-time use, so once they are
first bit of
consumed,
data
the
running.
blueprint is
Kind
then
of, yeah.
imprinted.
That's kind of data running. It's technically it's data, and it's on a pad, and you can give it to someone else physically. You're not wrong, PK. I really, 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 really hope that they just like expand. Like, I hope this is a good sign that they're going to be expanding on that with the other stuff too. That would be freaking sick. Like the data pads and the classic bunker missions that have the codes for that one lift. Always keep missing those. Yeah. More reasons to pick up data pads would be cool. Wouldn't it be sick to see a data pad in the world and be excited by that in the same way like if you came across a random 1SCU box in some bunker, you'd be like, ooh, somebody was looting and left something valuable here. You see that box and it's like a little piñata. You want to run over to it, see what's inside of it. Wouldn't it be cool to see that with a data pad too? Even if it is RNG. The chances of it happening suck. But it still happens. I don't know. Maybe I have a low bar.
Never use the data pad. So it's, yeah. If you already got the blueprint on the data pad, make sure that you make some money out of it, I would say.
There's also NPC shops, so more common stuff that we're not too bothered about there being an adventure to go and find, like a decoration. You could buy that blueprint in an NPC shop.
Would there ever
imagine being in a military base and finding like a couch blueprint?
A method of learning how to reverse engineer a blueprint from dismantling. I mean, if you dismantled 500 of the exact same gun, you probably figured out how to make it at this point.
There's no plan for that, but part of the upgrading, like learning the next tier of a blueprint, could include missions where you needed to do something like that. We definitely have been talking about that kind of process. It's one of the 2 or 3 main ways of like learning how to upgrade your blueprints that we've talked about.
Yeah, we called it research in the CitizenCon presentation, where we also had like other steps that you need to take to be able to figure out how to reach the next tier of the item that you own.
Let's talk about research a little bit, because that's we touched on it during the crafting guide. I've mentioned now more times than I intended. But give me a little primer. Give me.
I want to show you guys what they were saying about research a couple of years ago, because this is actually a really interesting part of this whole process that I'm not entirely sure how to feel about the way this will go. But it's a cool idea. Let me show you just kind of, they didn't say too much about it that time.
Blueprint research.
Same guy, by the way.
Research requires a research data bank which can upgrade your blueprints. Upgrading here means that you unlock a blueprint that allows you to create a better, higher tier version of the same item using more advanced materials.
So you would need the blueprint to make your item, or you don't. You don't even need the blueprint to make the item. You could find the item in the world. You could trade with somebody else for it. You could buy it from a store. But in order to upgrade an item, you have to get a separate blueprint. It's not just like you go into an upgrade menu and suddenly it shows you 3 tiers of upgrades for each, level. You're going to have to go out and find or buy or trade for these kinds of things too. So there's going to be a shit ton of blueprints in this game.
Note, you will still have access to the lower tier versions if you want to craft the cheaper version. In order to upgrade a blueprint, you may need to perform certain actions. In this example, we need to craft 100-volt pistols and have one with a higher fire rate. Other examples would be collect resources, complete missions, or acquire research data from the Science Guild. Research is time-intensive, in addition to the action requirements. It will take time for the research data bank to process your research data and unlock the upgrade. You are also limited in how many research projects you can pursue at once. Now that you have your blueprint and
So that's what you're saying back in 2024. Let's see how that may or may not have shifted, at least in design, by now.
Give me a short nickel version of what research is.
So items have different tiers. Default blueprint you get is tier 1, and then you could research it to tier 2. And tier 2 will require different materials. It'll have access to a different banding of stats, which are higher than tier 1. And in order to get to that tier 2, you have to complete the research task, which we kind of just alluded to would be do X, Y, Z, initiate your research. Once it's done, you've got access to tier 2. And then you can go to tier 3 for most items, and then ships go.
So it sounds like you don't actually have to find a blueprint for every upgrade. You just have to find a blueprint that allows for upgrades and then progress through that blueprint, it seems.
Tier 5.
Per item.
And the virtue of the different tiers is probably depending on the item. I'm trying to remember what the virtue. We had a long conversation about the virtue of the tiers.
Yeah.
What's the virtue of having a tier 3 version of a rifle versus a tier 1?
Well, the main benefit.
There's another question on the list that alludes to this, but
Let's do it now.
yeah. Well, one of the things is that not only can you get more stats, but you can get more options. So there'll be a material that you can have either different types of or different qualities of that will provide a trade-off between a buff and a debuff. So you can really lean into one stat that you really like if you want to.
So not only the stats will get generally better if you increase the tiers, but in the highest tier and in the highest tiers, you will even be able to affect or focus on a certain stat with the downside of affecting another stat in a negative way.
Okay, I do like that. It sounds like crafting is legitimately going to be its own portion of the game, not just something everybody is doing on the side. I'm very used to playing games where crafting is just kind of an extra menu in the pause menu. And it just, you just go in there and kind of, as you're going throughout the game, you're picking up a little bit of some materials here and there. You're doing some looting. You're unlocking something. And then a little notification pops up. You go into the menu. Oh, cool. I have 2 skill points. Da-da-da. Cool. Now I'm crafting something better. Oh, hey, I've got 2 pieces of this. Press a button. Great. Now I've got an extra gun. This sounds more like a whole side of the game, which I really enjoy, and might be something that you guys are more used to.
More like, you've done your GED and now you're focusing on a specific area, and you focus on your English degree and you forget how to do long form division, which is what happened to me.
Well, Chris is really interested in that kind of trade-off between a buff and a plus and a minus when you're crafting, having that choice. So even though we're planning to do that definitely for the higher tiers, since we want to start iterating on that earlier, we're going to try and come up with some examples of that before we get to the actual upgrading.
I'm volunteering you for work.
I've already been told. Yeah.
Why are armor and weapon skins separate blueprints? Wouldn't it be better to have them work like ship paints?
It would.
Next question.
So it's a tech limitation at the moment where if we want a red version of a blue helmet, we've got to make a new entity, and the red is like bound to that entity, and so in order to craft that red helmet, you need a blueprint for that red one specifically. That's not the long-term goal. The long-term goal is a paint-like system, but just the paints aren't physical. So it's like in a very British way, it's a digital license to apply the paint.
So British.
It's a nice way to work into that. They tax you if you want to watch TV here.
They do.
You don't just get to watch TV. Just buying a TV doesn't mean you get to watch TV here. You own a TV.
They
but
also
you don't get
tax
to
you
watch
on
it unless you
balls.
Pay the government tax.
And they send you nasty letters if you don't
They
pay them.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't even
Chase you up. Like,
They don't even know your name. They're like, resident,
Yeah.
we will come for you. I'm like, you don't even know my name.
I've got a stack of those letters.
But yeah, the
I don't even.
a proper tint system for characters and armors has been on the wish list for so long. It's one of those things where you can't work on everything all at once. And every time you do the priority call, there's something that just affects a few more people or affects an actual gameplay element getting better. That's just a little more important every time. But hopefully, its time on the wheel will come someday, because I'm a big fan of Barbie dress up. There might be a more appropriate term for it, but I've always called it, like, I spend so much time in every
True about the
MMO
TV
I ever
letters.
play just focused on far more than I do in real life. Making sure that my character looks exactly how I want them to look, and stuff like that. So that has to extend from the armor to the weapons to the items, because it drives me crazy when I got a cool black and red thing. I got a gun that's black and red. I got the helmet black and red, and then I pull out a bright yellow tool. I'm like, no. Let me color my tool. So you tell me, chat. Am I in the minority, or am I the only one? Drip or drown. There you go. Drip or drown. Are you planning to let players implement custom tags on cargo boxes for the inventory and tractor beam AR?
yes.
Yes.
You'll be able to rename boxes, inventory boxes, cargo boxes, and so when you zap them with your tractor beam, it'll say the name of the box.
When's that coming, tomorrow?
I don't think it does,
Can we talk about that being a feature in the actual visor? Maybe if you have, like, I don't know, an industrial helmet on, you can just see what a box has in it, please, or even a standard helmet, because I don't want to have to zap it with a tractor beam.
Hey, the crafting guide. This is a question. I didn't bring it up. The crafting
Also a
guide
question that was
has a
answered in
short
text
blurb on
before.
salvage updates for crafting. Can you give us more details?
So, Salvage
Maelstrom.
consists of two different, or like, methods of how you get, like, or you convert the ship debris that you found into material. So one side is RMC, and right now I don't think we have any recipes making use of RMC, but
We don't yet, no.
in the future patches we will have blueprints that actually will make use of RMC. So RMC will be already used as a craftable material there. On the other side, with the disintegration of all the construction material, I forgot the name because this name is killing me every time I am sitting.
They're your
at this
names,
chair.
right?
Huh?
They're your names.
Yeah, they are my
Rubble.
names. No. It's so the construction materials that you get from the disintegration process. Right now you get the construction material. That was never the intent. We always wanted to make the materials that you get from disintegrating the ship being based off what the ship is actually made of. So an example is, if you find a Vendel ship, you get a Vendel material out of it. If you find the Gladios, you will get some GT alumnite, which is like the Aegis material from it. So you get like these processed materials in a certain quality, which the ships were made of, and then you can process them and reutilize them for the crafting process. So like everything that we dismantle, the goal is that this also applies in the larger scale, which is the disintegration of ships. So that means that the material that you basically recycle from them have the quality that they were made with. You lose the amount or some amount of the material, but at least the materials that it was made of, you can repurpose them with the quality that you found them in.
As it's meant to be. I do wonder if this depends on the Maelstrom system, because that is, I think, a continuation from where they were going with item 2.0, and just the idea of adding material qualities, essentially like your variables for each type of material. Everything in the game is supposed to have those qualities. So if you have like a little teddy bear, you know, he's got some cotton, he's got some polyester, maybe he's got a couple plastic buttons, and you have to go through and dismantle that stuff and then receive that stuff. But we have not heard too much about this whole system since this demonstration. And I don't know if they're directly involved. You know, like I said, this is about adding material qualities to things.
Geometry has. Integrity
Material
is modified
properties.
from dissipating or rather absorbing energy from kinetic impacts
So
or
they
energy
could be related.
weapons, and also in the future from absorbing energy from external factors like extreme temperature or fire, as you've seen before. We also track which physical part or geometry belongs to which visual geometry and which high-level entity. So if the structural or internal integrity collapses, we know which visual geometry is affected and which item might be affected as well. So a power plant will cease to emit power.
They use this stuff to talk about, or is it like tensile strength, stress parameters, Young's module, all of the things that you use to determine material statistics, they are trying to build into
resilience.
this. So to me, that tells me that these two systems kind of got to be related, right?
Physical material properties influence damage and breaking and have a direct influence to how things break and fracture. To achieve this, we added various properties: density, yield strength, resilience, thickness, toughness, Young's modulus. And this is more or less what I wanted to talk about Maelstrom, but I don't want to leave without showing one more video of.
And that's just a little bit of a detour. Let's get back to the conversation.
Those will be exclusive to this collection method, so to speak. So there'll be like a high value in
The other way you
salvage
can get them.
Yep.
Yeah, cannot invade Vandal space just out of them. Yeah.
Well, not yet.
Spoilers.
Nice Milliway shirt. Thank you. Old heads might recognize this design. This design might look real familiar.
Oh, around the verse.
If you were in the project for years, since 2014, and the very first work I did for the company. And if you don't know what Milliways is, read a book. It's rude, but read a book. It's a really good book. Will blueprints drop at boss fights? Will blueprints drop from boss fights at some point?
We touched on that briefly.
The pads would be
Data
great.
pads, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for 4.7 we did introduce, I might be throwing Elliot under the bus here. I think we introduced a couple missions for the Ormondi and the Apex Valakar, so there's boss fight-ish associated blueprints at the moment. But yeah, the blueprints will be the data pads on the
The
blueprints.
P8AR is a boss fight blueprint.
Yeah.
Associated with the missions that you can complete for boss fights, as well as the loot that you can collect around a boss fight. Yeah, we definitely plan on that.
Yeah.
The Apex Valakar is not in the game yet.
What's it called then? The Stormworm. I forget its like official lore name.
That's the. What is the
irradiated.
The
The
irradiated
Stormbreaker
Valakar,
worm.
Yeah. The Apex
Oh,
okay.
irradiated is in
Yeah,
there. But the Apex Sand Valakar, still waiting.
That is a very good thing.
I was just talking to Brian Canary about it. Yesterday though, he's still so excited about it. It's coming along.
It is really cool. I like it. We've changed up the fight a little bit.
I know we did this whole
Tell more.
CitizenCon thing about it, and it's evolved so much since then. It's like,
Well, we
That's
we
good
got
to hear.
something together that was playable. We tested it, and it wasn't good enough, so we made some changes. So that's how you make a better game.
heaven forbid.
Do you try?
Will we
That
be
is
able to
interesting.
dismantle?
That is interesting. That is the kind of peek into game development I appreciate getting from this. The admittance, maybe on purpose, maybe not, but the admittance that they marketed this thing, worked it, figured out how it would work, put it in front of us, said this is going to be sick. Then they tested it and decided, oh, it's not sick. And so they've now changed that. How often does that happen in games? It's got to happen constantly, dude. Especially between like an E3 demo and then the game actually coming out.
High quality NPC gear for the high quality materials.
I briefly touched on it with the dismantling of ships. It also applies to armor pieces that you find on NPCs. So the goal is that if you find, like the average NPC will just run around with standard gear, right? But you will find like our so-called boss enemies or elites or however you want to call them, and they might be carrying like better armor or better weapons. And if you
backpacks.
Then, change ownership of them towards you and you decide to dismantle them, we have them crafted in the background, so what you get from dismantling them is actually the higher quality material that they were supposed to be crafted with.
Yes, of course the radio show is better than the book. I mean, obviously. Except the book does get to fix a lot of things that were kind of problematic about the radio show. Like Trillian disappears for the entire second fit of the radio show. It's like this. But I've actually been, it's apropos of nothing, I've been secretly recording my own version of the radio show for like the last 3 months where I play all the characters for my daughter.
Hitchhikers?
Yeah. So basically, when it comes time to introduce your hitchhikers, it's actually me doing every voice.
Nice.
And whatnot. So she doesn't watch the show, so nobody tell her. Are blueprints for non-combat stuff planned?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, they said that.
We've got the ship components.
When are you going to be done, Deck?
To be fair,
4.8,
most
right?
of them are done.
Every time we speak to Deck, it is like, yeah, most of them are done.
Hey, most of them are done, and then we go into a review, and then
Yes.
they're not done.
And then they are not done anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, there's to be fair to you, there's also there's also quite a few non-combat ones that we don't have planned yet because like it's a different process, especially when it comes to food and drink.
Correct. Yeah. There's some non-combat stuff coming in, like the quantum drives, but like Rick says, there's a bunch more that we'll still add in.
I've been doing this show for a better part of a decade, a little more than a decade. And there has never been a piece of truth uttered more succinctly than, well, all of it's done, and then it goes to review, and then it's not done. Like, that's game development. That's game development. I thought it was done. Well,
That's life.
Nobody else in that room did. Or those two people didn't, and you have to, you synthesize the opinions, and you go back and you try. It's just this constant iteration before you release, then after you release. You keep going with a live service game, but it's just, lots of things are done until they get to review.
You do see the progress as you develop it. It's definitely worth it. So.
With the plan of gear degrading over time and only having a limited amount of repairs until it is no longer usable, how do you ensure this game does not become a maintenance simulator? And I'm gonna go get a drink.
Yeah.
Take your time.
So it's something that I think we brought up in different conversations several times at this point. So we talked about that when we talked about engineering. I think we talked about that even last time when I think Elliot and I were sitting here. Mm-hmm. So degradation is, or every system that we do is never meant to like annoy people. We want players to enjoy playing our game. And that also means that we have to be very conscious about some decisions that we take. Degradation is one of those decisions where we are very conscious about that. If we do it wrong, we can be very impactful in your everyday gaming life. So what we do here is that we still want degradation to play a big part in our game because it's a way of us having you exchange components, taking care of
Speaking of degradation, I just want to say my people act like a gun, like losing quality over time and getting worse is some kind of super hardcore sim thing that nobody's going to accept. My first hardcore introduction to this kind of thing was through the most basic RPG experiences, things like Elder Scrolls, the Metro series, and stuff like that. Speaking of which, after this, we're going to go check out the new Metro game that was just announced because I'm really excited for that. But this is something I'm excited for in Star Citizen 2.
Taking care of your equipment so that they degrade slower and the functionality is reduced in a slower rate than normally they would be.
I like that.
But we also want to make sure that there is a floating economy. And like in real life, at some point, the laptop that you own will not be as performant anymore as it is right now. So
Too late.
It's thanks to capitalism, you want to buy a new one because you need a faster PC.
Because it's got a new AI
we need
feature
a
in
similar
it.
system in our game because we need a thriving economy, and a thriving economy you get by people buying things. And in our case, one of the levers that we have there is actually the degradation, because it is like the degradation impacts the functionality. So the older your item gets, the less functionality it will have. We will give you opportunity to, as stated, to, like if you treat it well, the functionality ratio will, or the degradation process is slower, so the functionality will remain longer. We will also give you ways to sometimes, in rare occasions, be able to restore some of the functionality of the item. We will make use, for example, of the crafters that you have, where you basically can repair that, which might be more sustainable for the component than putting your multi-tool onto it and repairing it. So it might be a good choice to use the crafting repair functionality over the hand tool repair functionality. But overall, at some point, everything has to go and you have to replace. So because that then introduces you crafting new components, maybe even better components. So there is some interesting mechanics behind that. But there's also like the things, we are very, very aware that sometimes you have this one item that you don't want to lose. So we also want to make sure that we tailor towards those things that you will not lose it.
Right. You do all that work to earn Ashbringer.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want it to break.
Yes. And just to give a very, very concrete example, because we have been working on that actually for quite some time now.
Ashbringer?
Yes. Finally. No, it's the degradation cycle, because we have been like very vague with all the numbers, but it's more like we are talking about game sessions, and a concrete example, it's not signed off, it's just me giving you a sneak peek of what we have been discussing. So we are talking for a power plant about a week, maybe 1 week and a half of usage, full usage. That means you have the time using it until it reaches zero functionality. So you basically have to replace it.
You say things like that. I have to interject. Are you saying a week of game time or a week of real life time with you not logged in?
No, it's play time. So you playing actively, using the component gradually, so it is not even, so the component is not resting, the component is not turned off, the component is on an average use case throughout a week and a half.
So more than 150 hours before you have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's
It's like
not give an exact
150
number.
hours of like actual usage of the item. Shout out to Lurch. I think you were concerned that they were going to like make things degrade in a day. At least they are getting out ahead of it and saying
That's my
something
point.
about
That's
it.
my point.
But like the high level intent is that it's not something that you're going to have to deal with every play session. It's a long-term mechanic.
Yeah, Ebun's Crux, first time chatter, hey, welcome to the chat, said, just don't do it like this other game that I'm not going to slag off. I can't do more than 2 hours of gaming without repairing all my gear 20 times. I don't know how prone to hyperbole they are, but that's what you're
what game is
talking
that?
Exactly. So
20 times.
And like I said, the number that I gave is just a very, very rough number.
Example.
It doesn't go through any iterations yet.
Yeah.
But also, like, this is like the extreme, right? We are talking about 100% functionality versus 0% functionality. There are degradation bits in between that we hope actually increase like interesting games.
Remember, he said this design isn't signed off. It's just what he's currently working on. And again, it's one of those things. It's done, and then it goes to review, and then
I am willing to put money on a bet that this game is not going to be filled with a bunch of repairing and stuff. It just would not make sense, even if they wanted to make it that way. They can't drive the community away at this point. I mean, they can't. Like, you can aim for something that is good, But if they go too far with it, it's going to screw the game for sure. I'm willing to bet that they understand that the entire survivability of this game is on the idea that you should get to play it and not constantly be having to maintain the stuff you used to play it. What I'm hoping is that they do put something in there that allows for the people who want to do more maintenance for the good of their weapons. They give those folks maybe a little bit more of a buff in some way. He said that they want to allow you to make the operation of the gun, like extend it. So maybe if they could buff it in that way to let people do it more, if it's something that interests them. But I feel like there's no way this is going to be the kind of thing that's taking up the majority of your time.
A bunch of people have voices and you make changes, then it goes to PTU. Then a bunch of people, give feedback, and then it gets changed, and then it goes to live. And then even more people give feedback, and then it's a process. It continues to go. But I think we're
except for the awkward time when it doesn't get changed in between PTU and live.
aware of it. I remember when we were about to introduce thirst and hunger and player, I can't think of the word right now, but everything, player injuries and stuff. And everybody was like, oh my God, I'm going to spend all my time drinking pips and dealing with hydration and stuff like this. And even if it is a bit overwhelming when it goes out, whatever that is, that's what continual balance is for. That's what this process of running an open, a live environment in the middle of our development is for, so that we can get this data in real time. We have our ideas, then we can test them, and then we can have better ideas and change stuff. And that's, it's been proven out in the process. So I understand the knee-jerk reaction to degradation being this terrible, terrible thing, but I've known the people here for a long time now. I know what your intents are. I know what drives you guys. I'm not worried. Even if it's too severe, like that damn boom tube thing. That boom tube is ridiculous, Zach.
He will be watching.
You need to tune that thing. You need to bring it down.
I had a chat with him.
It's a little.
There he is.
There he is. He's in chat. That boom tube is. But that's the process. You gotta see. Is this overpowered? I don't know. Let's put it in.
That thing messes people up. You guys remember in the Daymar rally when that guy just one-shotted the wolf on security?
Oh.
You're throwing Chris under the bus. I like it.
You can see Chris in the chat.
Now let's bring Benoit in to talk about it.
We continue to tweak and twerk. And I don't twerk. Torsten twerks, though.
Call Benoit.
What? We got time for a couple more. Is there a plan to provide high-level design briefs for major feature releases to help bridge the gap between initial implementation? As mentioned several times in the show, we did. Now, not as detailed as we used to. This person might be referring to the ye old days where we would write up this entire thing about what we did. We did a design brief on Mixmaster. We did a design brief on an entire game loop about how to make drinks for NPC passengers and keep them having whatever. And the reality of development is that so many things have changed.
They literally did. Hold on, I can probably pull this up here. They didn't do it on Mixmaster, but they did it on passenger transport. And there is a whole section on the Mixmaster. It is connected to 8 different beverages and has rotating set of nozzles. Pressing one of the 8 associated buttons creates the corresponding beverage to dispense for your passenger. Alongside the seat of the passenger that ordered the drink and the time remaining before a reputational penalty starts to accrue is the formula for the desired concoction. A formula such as 1148 would indicate that 2 parts beverage, 1 part beverage 4, and 1 part beverage 8 are required. The quality of the drink, displayed by the Mixmaster, is determined by how accurately the portions were allocated. Just a ton of theory crafting when this game was first coming up. It's 2015, dude. We still don't have passenger transport, but you can bet your ass they're going to still try and do things like this for the passenger transport gameplay, which is fun and cool. But they've gotten away from doing this and more towards writing guides for the things that are actually in the game, which they couldn't do back then because there was no game. Just one of the many ways that this project has actually changed over the years.
Systems have changed, people have changed, we've all grown, and it's just the likelihood that that document is anything remotely accurate is, you don't need me to make a comment on it. You should be able to tell. So we moved away from full-on design briefs like that because all too often it just led to disappointment. Because again, we ended up changing it.
Well, luckily there was no dev time used for that.
Or changing it because somebody new joined the team and came up with a better idea. And it's like, well, no, we're not going to stick with the old idea if it's not as good. We want to do the new idea. But now we've changed. You didn't do what you said you were going to do and stuff, even though it's something we believe is better. So we did move away from those old, super detailed design briefs of yore, and that maybe that's what.
Yeah, but we still bring them up, dude, and you guys better still do the mix master, or else I'm suing.
They're referring to, but we have made an effort for this last year to update things like the mining guide and the salvage guide and the crafting guide and the medical guide and the cargo guide and stuff like this, and make a lot of our intentions known, make a lot of our philosophies known, and give a glimpse at the future of where this feature is going, as like we did with medical and like we did with crafting lately. So
engineering.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So there is that effort.
I'm going to make a video, I think, a follow-up. Last year I did a video where we had that like Jared moment where he was like, hey, all the stuff that we said, people came, they had new ideas, those ideas replaced the old ones, and we're moving along as a company. He's basically saying the same thing again here. And that cuts right across on the point I was making earlier where I think they're just back to pre 4.0 development. They are back to getting these ideas figured out and then put into the game. And it's early in the process. It is experimental because it's all the stuff that they've wanted to do and they're just figuring out how it actually works in the game. But most of all, it goes to show that while that stuff matters that they said they want to do, anything can really happen at this point because they're not trying to make the game they promised anymore. That's not happening. That's essentially what he's saying, in my opinion. They've got the different, what are they called? The milestones that they hit when they were funding. I can't remember, but they had like the goals that they would hit. They have to hit those promises and give those. But in terms of, is this going to be a space sim? Is it going to be an MMO? Is it going to have death of a spaceman? Are we going to be flight attendants? That's all up in the air. We can only talk about what they've said and then what it feels like the direction they're going in now. But it seems like anything past the last 4 or so years is not necessarily a guarantee for this game anymore, which is a bummer because I want an Aaron Halo belt.
It won't be as detailed as
stretch
it
goals.
Was
Thank you.
Back in old
we
days.
have those big new features that we want to explain to people as best we can, especially since we're going to be iterating on them and we don't want to do in-game versions of those tutorials yet. We want to have those available for people.
Yeah. And then of course we do shows like this where we talk to the designers and we explore their intentions and what their struggles are and stuff like that.
Honestly, I need to see where their idea of the ratio of AI to players hasn't changed because I've been reporting on that for years. And while I wish it wouldn't, the way they talk about this game now definitely feels like it has shifted. If they came out and told me that they still want to have a ton of AI flying ships around and populating this world, I will be so happy to hear it. But as of now, I'm getting less and less confident about that being their continued goal.
I asked you how you were feeling about crafting. How are you feeling about inventory right now?
It's
be real. Sorry, you can be real.
Yeah, it has improved features. So proximity loot is very nice. You can take the 1SCU store all with you, and you can just hoover up the loot as you go. It needs to be snappy though. It needs to interact like quickly. It needs to be instant. So we're aware of that, and we are proud of the features that it's gone out with, and we are continuing to work on the interactivity and the responsiveness.
Yeah, it's nice to see an improvement to the inventory system. It's frustrating to see some of the things that we wanted to get fixed that didn't make it into the build. It's frustrating to see some of the performance limitations that we haven't been able to solve yet, but we're actively working on it. It'll continue to get better.
Anything in 4.8 you can point to? Might help.
That's a when question.
4 wide?
No, dude.
Yeah, true actually.
I'll tell you when 4.8 comes out. It comes out in the middle of May.
It sounded like a.
How about stack all?
No. Is there something? Is there work in 4.8?
There is. So it can be quite hard to see the icons. So we are going from 5 across the top on a row to 4 across the top on the row, and.
So did you make the icons bigger, or?
Yes, just the whole thing scaled up as far as the inventory icon. And
Good.
then not in 4.8, but related to that is we will have the support for widescreen for dynamically sizing the inventory panels, and you'll have the option to scale up and down the icons yourself.
Oh.
And if you scale them all the way down, they just turn into a text list instead of a series of icons. It's just a text
Oh,
Is the scaling
dude, that's people. I know people have been wanting a text list of this stuff. That's actually really, that'll be really nice. I hope they give us the ability to have text and icons, but I guess dragging it to do that doesn't seem too bad. Love that option.
No.
Okay, that's why I had to ask.
Well, yeah, I said not for 4.8
Okay,
widescreen.
I missed that part. I heard being able to scale your icons, and I was like,
Most of them probably heard that as well.
okay, but in
That'll be
development.
cool.
Yeah. For 4.8, we went with the larger
Where we get the
icons.
larger.
Yeah, just to make it more visible, and then the scaling is coming, and also like the improvements to like the actual rendering of those icons.
Right, you mentioned.
You know what I really want in the inventory is an ability to, when you open a backpack or an inventory within an inventory, you can drag the box around the screen. You know, so I have a backpack within a box. I can open that backpack and then drag it to somewhere else on the screen. And then I can have like the box open on one side, my personal inventory open on the other, and then a floating backpack inventory I can move around. Notice that in Tarkov. That seems like a really nice
improving
touch.
The lighting.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
stuff like that. What about the rotation? So some of them, I feel, go a little too fast to tell what they are.
What's up, Ruben?
I don't know.
So we have the rotation of the icon within the inventory box.
Yeah.
And if they're broken, that's my fault because I set those up.
Okay.
So
maybe I'm just.
maybe they will be fixed. And there's a couple of changes.
Send
going on.
Declan an email at.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just slow.
I did. Don't tell Ian this, but I put the undersuits. I put the undersuits the wrong way around, so they're facing arse front.
Don't tell Ian, as Ian is watching.
Two more questions and we're done. Why aren't there any backpack blueprints?
Just didn't have time in 4.7. They'll be there in 4.8.
Oh, so those will be in 4.8.
Yes.
So, some more non-combat.
Yeah, that's true. Backpack doesn't shoot.
This is true.
So what?
CIG
what are the
might find a
stats
way,
of
though.
Backpacks.
Well, no, to be fair, they won't have stats.
Okay.
Eventually, they would. Stuff like weight. But yeah, it's just nice to craft your own backpack, so we're adding that blueprint in.
Oh shoot, dude. If I could somehow I can craft a light backpack with as much carrying capacity as a heavy backpack, that would be ridiculous. But it'd be funny.
And last question, because I don't know the next time we're going to get to talk about this topic. What do you want to say to people? What, you know, it's now been out there for a couple weeks now, about a month. I'm not. Nobody's ever looked at Jared and said he knows what day it is. What do you want to say to people about crafting in inventory today?
I think we're very proud of it, and we love the feedback we receive. You know, it's great seeing like people interact with it, and we'll continue to iterate, continue to build upon it. It's nice to see. It's a big feature. It's going to be a long-running feature, so we're excited to have it out.
Yeah.
Get out there and try it if you haven't. Start playing with it. Give it your feedback, because we're going to be working on it actively for quite a while, and there's a lot more features to come and a lot more iteration to come, and I'm really excited about where it's going.
It made friends of mine play mining, even though they don't like mining. So it definitely.
They hate you more now?
Had some attractiveness to people.
And see, you touched on something, but it brought people who weren't going to try one game loop to try a game loop. And and that is how you make a successful MMO personally. Not just that alone, of course, but inviting people and making it encouraging to them to step outside their comfort zones and explore all the different aspects of a game or how games thrive and live. Like the ability, I was thinking about this earlier, like all the ways blueprints. There are going to be people who just chase blueprints. The Pokemon players who are just like, oh no, you showed me a list of 350 things. I have to collect all 350 and whatever. And you can set these blueprints across missions for all manner of gameplay. And people can try medical for the first time if they've never done that. People can try salvage for the first time if they've never done that. I mean, it's systems like this are ones that truly touch every single aspect of the game. And if we do it right and we make it fun and it works, then it always has to work. The opportunity there to bring players to more aspects of the game are just fantastic.
The other side of that,
the most exciting feature.
The other version of that, in my opinion, is not something we don't talk about here. We say it quite often. There have to be parts of the game that people don't like, because the other magic of something like this is if you don't like mining but you still need it, then the game needs to allow you to hire other people or contract work out to other people to do it for you. And this game's really missing that. I could get into a whole diatribe about social tools again, but that is the missing element here. With gameplay like crafting and mining being so important, you got to let people contract other people to do it for you. I really thought they would be getting that in by 4.8, man. That's going to be a failure every single patch that kind of stuff isn't coming into the game now.
Aspect for me in a long time. Like, this is a big year for me. The biggest feature for me is crafting, and the biggest content for me is tactical strike groups.
Oh,
Waiting for this thing. So the fact that we've started this journey with crafting now.
Have you played it?
The fact that and the fact that I sit on the playthroughs. I sit on the playthroughs.
Good.
To say that I am a bad pilot is an understatement. I have peripheral neuropathy, and it twitches every once in a while, and so how people like blame their controllers. No, I blame my own hands and whatever. So I'm not good with anything that requires a lot of finding.
I'm taking the same excuse. That's why I'm not going to be doing that too often. I'm going to be on the ships, not flying them. That's why I'm more excited for Siege of Orison remake and the municipal works and Nix 1.
Unfortunately, and flying through the trench run and racing the distortion and whatnot. I'm like, nope, I'm happy just watching. I'm happy just watching and relishing in the enjoyment of other people. So having that crafting journey start, in 4.7, having tactical strike groups start in 4.8. It's a really exciting time for the project. Have we gone live to PTU yet, or Evocati?
Friday.
Nope.
Have we told them the tactical strike groups is in 4.8?
Yes. Jared, you should know that.
No, tactical strike groups is in 4.8. It's super cool. Get into PTU when that goes live.
It's been cool seeing people become better pilots just doing some of those runs.
Jared, why did you stop? You
wanted
to say a third thing about the battlecruiser? Did I want to say something about the battlecruiser? What more would I say that a portfolio update and a Galactopedia update haven't already done? All right, so that's it for Star Citizen.
Okay, that's pretty telling, huh? That basically confirms that the Odin is the battlecruiser and it's coming from Anvil.
Mike Torsen's looking at me, he has no idea. It's like, that's it for Star Citizen Live. Thanks for watching. There will be no show next week. No show next week?
Boo.
No. Yeah, no show next week. We're actually doing a pre-tape for some other stuff that we got to do, but we'll be back the week after that as we head into the most exciting time of the year, May, and our big ship showcase and
big ship showcase.
Big ship showcase. And that's my ironclad guarantee. All right, take it easy, everybody. I'm Jared. That's Rick.
Yeah.
Torsten. See you later, everybody. Take care. Bye.
All right. Interesting talk. We did not get as much information as I was hoping for. I asked a question for this one. I asked about if crafting would eventually have parts that we craft that we would need to craft other parts. You know, like a lot of the big games that focus on crafting and logistics do. You know, where it's like you craft, I don't know, a trellis or a frame or something, and that lets you craft a truck. No answer on that, and I'm guessing we're probably not going to go that far with it, but it does sound like there's a decent amount of gameplay that is separating crafting from the rest of the game through refining, through upgrading, and obviously through the degradation that happens. But I think this was like a decent amount of basic information. A good amount of it was already available to us, but that's in written format. You know how that is. And honestly, some clarification on how material quality is going to work. I think the biggest thing coming out of this is that they clearly need to get social tools working. We need better resource scattering. And the development of this game is still very much about getting features in, getting them tested, making sure they work, and moving on. The difference now between this and pre 4.0 is that now they're using the tech preview, and they have a relatively mature game engine. So the stuff they're bringing in isn't breaking the game, but it still can end up broken. It means that if you're not obsessed with whatever the features being added to a patch are, there's a good chance that you can just keep doing what you want to do without having to worry about that. That wasn't so much the case before. If they added something in before and it was broken, it would cause, depending on how big the feature was, it would cause havoc. And there was just no touching that part of the game. Now, at least, it does seem like it comes in and it's not breaking things entirely. Over time is a different story. But that was just a look at crafting inventory and what's going on with that little watch party. If you got to see this on Space Tomato 2, hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching the whole thing. I'm pretty sure this is a pretty long one. If you want to join us live for some conversation, hanging out, and seeing what people have to say about these things, hit us up. Otherwise, see you in the next one.